We go any further here, a little shout out to LA Cycles in Whitestown, our good buddies up there, Nick and Performance Power Sports here in Brownsburg, BMF Twins right next door, Redline Power Sports. They moved their facility up in Fort Wayne, and so we got to give some shout outs to our friends. Hey, Bill Yarian, how you doing? Jan Bradley came by today to show off a Sportster.
Hey,
did you know that he picked one up? So he'll have to see if you can post a picture on there. I don't know if you can or not, Jan.
Yeah, Jan, the reason this one's on the lift is that this is support for Clayton's destination after he leaves our shop. I'm rocking the Harley Davidson wear just to get him used to it because he's going to see a lot of it working at Harley.
Clayton's going to the dark side.
He rode this over just to get some practice.
Yeah,
have to get used to it.
Anyway, hey, one thing new. I did post some links out there. Hoy Vintage Cycles has some new T-shirts, and I'll put a link in the description a little bit later. Most of you have already seen it online on one of the Facebook pages. All right, so as we said, Clayton, our good buddy, is moving to the dark side. He's actually taking an internship at Harley, and that's going to be where? Which one?
Just in Plainfield.
That's the
Harley
one in
West.
Plainfield. Okay.
Indy West.
Harley West. Indy West. What?
Indy West. Harley
Indy West Harley. Okay. Anyway, so let's start off with a little backstory here. How in the world did this even take place?
Oh, well, I ended up going to the Area 31 Career Center. Which
wait. Okay, we're going to back up even more.
Oh, okay.
How did you hear about the infamous Hoy Vintage Cycles?
Oh, well, to be honest, I never did hear about it. But
Oh, dang.
no,
I just wandered in that.
yeah, that's pretty much it. I lived across the street for years, and I've always been into motorcycles, and I always liked hearing about them and seeing them. And every time I'd leave my house to go do something, I'd see across the street over there a bunch of.
So you saw us pulling the bikes outside and.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Like we do now.
I'd see them lined up.
All lined up.
Hear them. And a few times I recall seeing dirt bikes going up and down there. And that's what I was mainly into then. I remember thinking, I wonder what's over there,
So, Kim, you talked to Kim first. Was that right?
Yeah.
We got to share a mic. I'm low budget here.
He came in on Clay came in on a weekend, and he and his brother stopped in, and I was in the middle of something working on a bike, and that's not at all untypical. People come in all the time and wander in and want to talk. And he said, is there any work here? And I said, what do you know how to do? And he's like, well, I work on dirt bikes. I've had more than one. I've ridden them. I said, oh, great. I said, do you have tools? Not really. I could bring my dad's. I said, yeah, I'll bet you need to ask your dad about that first. But at the end of the day, Clay did come back, and he's been around for almost 3 years now.
And you didn't even have your driver's license, right? You were 15.
No, it was just because I lived across the street. I could still go there without any.
Yeah.
Okay.
He walked home, and
you were 16 when you started.
Yeah.
Or were you 15?
I just turned 16.
You just turned 16. Okay.
Yeah, and he's not going to tell you this, but the day after tomorrow is his birthday. He's going to turn 18, which is cool.
Hey, Cadwell, Nick, Roger. Hey, guys. Anyway, so then I'll say this. What happened with me, the way I met Clayton was Kim just told him to come in on Saturday and start working, basically. And so I'm sitting there on Saturday, and this kid walks in, and I'm like, "Can I help you?" I thought he had a bike he wanted worked on, and he goes,
"I work here."
He goes, "Here, I'm supposed to start working today," and I'm like, okay. And I think Kim kind of vaguely told me what was going on, but I probably didn't listen. So
you were at the tail of the dragon when I first walked in there. So
yeah, I think that's right. I think it was just me.
Yeah. Okay. So when I got back that Saturday, he comes walking in, bebopping in, and I'm like, okay, well, so then I kind of just thought of something I could have you do. And I think I had to pull the carb apart. Was it that day?
That may have been a little after. I think it was, I walked in there and there was a rotor sitting there.
Okay.
And, you asked if I could just take that off, and I put it on. And then pretty soon, it was a Saturday. It wasn't too busy, so that's about all I did, I think.
Oh, okay. All right. Anyway, so as time went on, we were testing them out, and we had him take a carburetor apart, I think on a TTR 125, and I saw how he was doing the crisscross pattern on the screws, and I'm like, oh, this someone's taught this kid how to do a couple things. So anyway, so I think we ought to probably do some question and answer with Clayton and see what he has to say.
Yeah, I agree. I want to add one more thing about Clayton that's unusual. I mean, I'm sure people on this call encounter a fair number of people between the ages of 15 and 18. I certainly do. I know Steve does. And one thing that makes Clayton different than virtually everybody else I know in that category is he doesn't swear. The only time he's picked up any kind of ill language is when we use it in the shop. And it's me generally, Mike occasionally, Steve rarely, but Clayton just doesn't by nature do so. And I think that makes him miles ahead of virtually everybody in his age group, and he's willing to learn. So it's great to have him. We're going to miss him.
So do you remember what month you started, or what was that? That was probably, if we were at the Dragon, that was like early May.
Yeah, it was. It was
okay.
Somewhere around May 4th or 5th when I first walked in there.
Which we need to get back to that. Hey, Dusty, how you doing, buddy? Matthew, Ron. So what were some of your other like first jobs at the shop? Obviously you did the rotor and the carb, and what are some of the first things you remember working on?
Well, it was mainly for a while just cleaning. There was a lot of cleaning, trash, sweeping, stuff like that.
Sweeping, yes.
A lot of sweeping and cleaning up stuff too. And but besides that, and the few carb jobs here and there on like single cylinders, mainly it was just shadowing.
Yeah,
shadowing Kim mainly, and you and
yep.
Mike, and just getting kind of a feel on how to work on bikes. I thought when I was first going in there, I knew a little bit. I didn't know anything.
There's a lot to learn, especially when, of course, our shop, we work on literally everything. I haven't worked on everything, but it feels like everything's been through that shop, from a Lambretta to Jawa.
Yeah, we've got pictures of Clayton working on a 1929 DL Harley.
So, let's find that real quick and throw that up there.
And I see Dusty's commenting on the bike on the lift. This one's mine. I knew it would be one that you'd be excited about.
Is this? Let me know if this is the one, because I got the camera in the way of the screen. So there you go. Clayton's working on that bad boy. And what year was that again?
That's a 1929 Harley Davidson DL 750 flathead. Really rare bike, 1 year only. It's called the 3-cylinder Harley because it had a vertically mounted generator. Really unusual motorcycle. And I had done some work on that for the granddaughter of the original owner. And we got it running and riding. There's a video out there on our website about that. But Clayton.
So Clayton, you were just posing right there, right? Or were you actually wrenching?
He has a tool in his hand.
I think we actually took that originally to show Harley, just to like.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
He's done some things none of the Harley mechanics have ever done.
That was part of his resume right there, addition to his resume. So you were telling me, you sent me a picture. This was this isn't the bike, but this is the bike you kind of grew up on or first learned how to ride or whatever.
Yeah, it was a 86 PW50. Actually originally got it because my dad's buddy had 2 of them, and he asked if my dad could work on them for him and fix them up for his kids, but he ended up actually getting rid of one just like that, a 86, and that was the first time I not only learned but how to work on one too.
Okay. And that was a 2-stroke, right?
Yeah.
A little PW.
How old were you when you did
that? Probably 5, 6. I mean, I probably didn't understand any of it, but he tried to show me, how a carburetor works and
That's a good
all
time
that
to
kind of
start.
stuff.
Okay.
Way ahead of us.
So was this the second bike that you
yeah.
rode?
It was
That's a 70? Okay. So that you weren't clutching quite yet.
No, it was
pretty close. You were pretty close to learning that.
Yeah, just getting on bigger bikes. When we got that one, actually, it was funny. The back tire was completely just skinned off because the kid who had it before me used it as a street bike. He didn't have any yard use it in.
You need to move that closer to you.
Oh,
it keeps cutting out. All right. So let's talk about a couple things. You said that you learned a lot at the shop.
Oh yeah.
This is one of my favorite ones. What's like your biggest screw up?
Well, it was
Which
big
one
enough
would that
that
be?
I don't even have to think about it. It was probably it was bad too. It was probably the first like 4 or 5 months I was at the shop. Guy came in with a gold wing. It was just me and Mike there, and I probably shouldn't have been trusted to do it alone. It was,
Single-sided swing arm, right?
yeah, and it was some really stiff Dunlop tires,
Mm-hmm.
Alloy
and
rim.
yeah, we were having
Alloy,
some-
really nice, pretty rim.
it was brand new gold wing rim, and
Was.
we were trying to work on it, me and Michael. We couldn't get it, and I pressed the wrong pedal on the tire machine, and the prongs came out, and the teeth bit right into it and just gouged it really bad. And I didn't even know what to say to Mike. I just looked at him like confused, like, what do I do? We ended up having to call the guy, and that was one of the hardest phone calls I had to go through with.
No doubt.
Yeah, just has a good memory. That wheel is in his bedroom right now.
Yeah, after we paid off the damage, I just kept
Well, I'll
it
have to
there.
say this. I'm usually pretty calm about all this kind of stuff. And I think I actually was
Yeah.
pretty
Oh, yeah.
calm. Usually am. It takes a little bit to get me going.
You don't get very excited about it.
It was
you just do.
It
whatever
was
you need to do.
disappointing, but if you're not out there failing, then you're not learning anything. And although Clayton's young and he had some experience coming in, he had some fails, but his winning far outweighed any fails that he had. And I'll have to say something about the owner of that bike. When I talked to him, he was so understanding about it that he himself actually went on eBay and looked for a used one that was in really good condition and purchased it because it was it was more than half the cost of a brand new one. Yeah, we're talking about $600 wheel, but yeah, that wasn't too fun, was it?
No, and
But
I
what a
was
great
really
learning
glad he was
experience,
like
right?
that. Oh yeah, no, I was a lot more careful on the tire machine after that.
Oh yeah, and
Still
Clayton
didn't swear.
he still didn't swear.
No, surprisingly.
And so Clayton became basically my right hand man with tire changes and oil changes and safety checks, and he would close the shop if I left early. He's trustworthy enough to have a key. I'm gonna need that back on Thursday, by the way. And open the shop. And what was really nice about having him across the street is if I forgot something or a customer was going to stop by, he was always willing to go over and open the shop up. So that was always great. All right, let's see. What other questions do we have for Clayton here? What do you think is one of the hardest jobs you accomplished there at the shop over the last 3 years or so?
That's kind of hard to say, that one. There's been a lot that have kind of been close, but I'd say one of the worst ones that was actually repeated was the rear tires on late 80s, early 90s Gold Wings. And even on those, I'd even have help from you, but they would still just take so long, and it would take all of our patience and so much of the day to get them done right.
We've worked on a few of them together that had me wanting to throw wrenches for sure. All right. So
I will say, in Clayton's support, there hasn't been a job that I'm aware of that he wasn't willing to take on, even if it was complex.
Yeah.
If he needed guidance, he would come and get it. If he felt like he was running up against something he wasn't comfortable with, more often than not, he would stop. Now, that isn't always true.
No.
He's gotten himself in the ditch a few times because he didn't stop. But I think that was more about wanting to move forward than it was about trying to cover up a mistake. He was more than happy to come and tell us what was going on. And all the ones that deviated from whatever the plan was came back in line pretty well.
Commonly called the struggle bus.
Yeah.
And we all get on that.
Yes,
we all get on that sometimes.
And if you're not working on these things down in the guts, you're not going to get there.
And by the way, if you saw the title of the episode as a quote unquote goodbye, we're not going anywhere. Hoy Vintage Cycles isn't going anywhere. We're not. Kim's not leaving. I'm not leaving. It was kind of just a funny thing to put on there and have people maybe think, what in the world's going on? But actually,
if
Clayton,
we did that, there'd be customers in the driveway with pitchforks and torches and stuff.
Clayton is leaving us. But you've worked with Area 39, so tell us a little bit about what Area 39 is in cahoots with the high school. People will know what it is.
Oh, well, that's one of the best things I've done school wise is do that class. Cause it not only allows you to learn a lot more about a certain subject that's not in the school, but it's just a lot more freedom.
Well, tell us what it is actually, what Area 39 is. It's
it's in Indianapolis. It's at Ben Davis. It's just a bunch of programs that you can
is it Area 31?
Yeah.
I said 39. I'm making up my own. Killer's out there scratching on something.
I hear him out there.
Anyway, so Area 31, they have all kinds of different classes on like painting and mechanics and
from cosmetology
all kinds of stuff.
to
Okay.
machining. Yeah.
Vocational.
You didn't take on the cosmetology though.
No.
He was about to, because during COVID he had some hair.
That's true.
Right.
It's in that.
I got
Harley picture show.
I got to show that picture. Well, yeah, here we go.
That one too.
There we go. There's Goldilocks right there with the COVID hair. And he's in this one right here.
Yeah,
we made the magazine, Brownsburg Magazine. We're famous now. But he had the COVID hair going on, which was kind of funny. And there's a lot of people have been supportive of Clayton, and we're proud that he stepped up to the plate and came in and asked. And you don't find that very often. And I'll tell you another thing you don't find, and I'll tell you directly, Clayton, and that is the fact that when there's nothing to do, you come and ask if there's what's next. I didn't even do that as a kid. So what are you putting up there?
I'm not going to put anything up there. I just want to see who that is. Oh, it's my wife.
Oh, hey,
my wife's
Ren.
bringing her Harley to you.
Hey, Ren, how you doing? Says, I'll put it up on the screen there. See how we can do that. Hi, Clay. Gonna miss.
I'm still
Good Clay stories.
I'm still going to have Clay stories.
Thank you.
We've got Clay stories to go for a long time.
Oh yeah, there's plenty.
Let's see. What other? Do you have any questions?
I do. So, what one thing would you say you've learned about customers or being in a business like this that you think will apply to your new job?
Well, I think one of the main things to expect is, anything can happen, especially with like working on motorcycles. You do one thing a few times and you think you got it down, but then another thing comes up and you have no idea how to do it. It's almost like you have to relearn it. And that's even with the customers too,
Mm-hmm.
like some people kind of cooperate better than others. And some people I feel like you can communicate better with too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you know the Hugo guy?
That sounds familiar.
Hugo, the pork eater? No, I'm serious. He's commenting on there. Couldn't be more proud of him. Thank you guys for giving him a chance.
It must be my dad.
Oh, there you go.
All right. I like that name. Okay. So we'll have to check.
Actually,
we'll
I
have to
think
check
of it,
into that.
I think of it the other way around. I think he gave us a chance because there's so many people his age are out doing God knows what whenever they want to. It's not anything like what we typically run into, even some of our customers and their younger people. In Clayton's case, he came over and thought enough of us to spend time there, and he still does. And we're grateful for every minute he's in there.
Okay. So Bill has a question for you. How deep has Clayton been into an engine? What's the first one you think of? I'll tell you which one I think of.
That's hard to say. Usually engines, I wouldn't really do much with. I think at the shop, it's just been the 400. I mean, that's the one I did the first top end on and all that, and the timing. I don't think I've ever torn apart a bottom end.
We took a little chance and we bought a KZ 400. So it was a twin. Yeah, let's pull that up. I wish I didn't have to go to this other tab to do that. So I told Clayton, there it is right there. I said, I will buy it and I'll buy the parts and you do all the work. With guidance from myself and Kim, and you can ride it, and then when we sell it, we'll split the profit. And that's what we did. We ended up selling that bike, and it's actually on its if you call us the first owner, once we tore the engine down and got it back up and running again, it's already gone to two other owners. But Clayton basically tore this thing apart, tore the top end off. We bought all the parts. He put it back on. There were a couple glitches here and there that we had to sort out, and
Put rings in it, didn't you?
I don't remember if we put
Yeah, you
rings in
did
it or
because
not.
one got
I
broken.
think we
Yeah.
pretty much
that's right.
did. Yeah,
Yeah.
one got broken by
about
someone
that.
else trying to help put that on there. We won't mention Mike's name. And whoops.
Yeah. Oops, Mike who? I don't know.
Anyway, so yeah, that was a fun one. And then let's see here you are. Look how young you are there, working on that, putting that top end back on. And let's see what else we got here. Oh, we got some I think here you're changing a chain out or something, you were telling me.
Yeah, I think it's around
Got the
same
sparks
time.
flying right next to the it looks like there's a red container of gas there. No, not really.
Yeah, well, there's something else in this picture and the other one.
What do
where
we
he's
got?
working on that bike.
That's over by your station, your workstation, Kim.
Yeah, and I've been a Nazi about him using safety glasses. I don't even like him to come into the shop without putting them on first. I don't spend as much time now saying it because he wears them more often than not, but it doesn't mean that he doesn't forget periodically when he comes in.
Oh, yeah.
I just was basically sitting on his shoulders the whole time in the last couple of years, making sure he was doing it.
There's your safety tip of the day. So we got that over with. Safety
glasses,
tip,
no matter who's.
safety glasses. So then Clayton bought another. You actually bought another bike and worked it off, and we don't even have a picture of it. It was a GT380 or a 550. So triple two-stroke. Clayton's really into the two-strokes, and then finally he ended up buying this bike right here, which is a Sabre, and it's got a couple little issues that we're going to listen to when you bring it back over the shop. But he's been toying around, tinkering with that, and then let's see, one of your pride and joys right here. Tell us the story about that.
Oh yeah. So that's that bike's pretty important because that's not only what got me back into riding again. Because after that XR70, I had a TTR for a little bit of time, and that's how I got used to using a clutch.
Mm-hmm.
But there's actually a big break in between there and when I started riding again, and that bike is what got me into riding, working on bikes, and vintage bikes all at the same time.
So this was if I remember right, you said it was a neighbor friend that had this bike, or what? What's the story?
Oh yeah. So Terry Hatfield, our neighbor, my dad's known him for a long time. He's always known about this bike and a dirt squirt from the same year being over there. And when I told him I wanted to get back into motorcycles, he was like, "Oh well, let's see if Terry will sell those." So we went over there. He bought them for a really good deal, and again, he took me on. He took me through how to work on them, you know. And luckily, those bikes were super simple, so they were pretty easy to work on and learn.
Very cool.
And it was to the point where I was going out there and cleaning the car when it didn't even need it. I just liked working on it.
Yeah, cool. So there's a bunch of information about this particular bike that gave a lot of insight to Clayton. Clayton joined us one year at Mid-Ohio, and we had an inventory of bikes in the Hoy Vintage Cycle area. $20,000 Honda, a $10,000 custom bike, some other bikes that were in there. And of all of the people that walked by looking at motorcycles, this one got more attention than any of them. And I don't know how many there were, but Clayton, how many would you guess opportunities you had to sell that bike at Mid-Ohio?
Well, there's at least 4 or 5 different people coming up there, and usually I'd give them pretty crazy prices too. But
yeah, they were ready to peel
interested.
off
Yeah,
the hundreds to get it. And the one thing that was really good about that was he didn't sell it. You know, it was, I'm sure, tempting, but the thing that gave me a lot of encouragement with Clayton's attitude toward vintage bikes was that one was so important to him. He had no intention to sell it. So, you know, it was kind of cool that he hung on to it. Maybe he'll get the same disease that the rest of us have and wind up with 40 bikes in the garage, but you never know.
Yeah,
That's a good place to start.
All right. Hey, it looks like we've got a few more questions actually for Clayton. I wish I was this popular. Let's see. That's a good one from John Hill. Is there one thing you have learned about life with this particular experience? I guess being around the shop and being around these goofballs.
Oh, well, yeah, there's actually been quite a few things. I've learned about kind of how to communicate with people a little better, I feel like, with all the customers and different kinds of people. And that's a really big one. And, you know, working on the bikes too, that'll provide a lot of life experience because that'll help me afterwards, which is how I was able to work at Harley Davidson too, is because of the experience I've got from
So
you guys.
let's go back to that real quick. The way the Harley thing came up was actually because of you. Didn't you go to Harley and talk to them first?
Oh, well,
How was that set up to where because they weren't an affiliate with Area 31 yet, right? And then you reached out to Harley, or somebody reached out to Harley.
It was pretty shady at the beginning.
Shady.
Actually, yeah, because it was
Right there. What Dusty's saying there.
Oh, okay.
You can go ahead and answer.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, you
yeah.
can go ahead and answer that.
It was just one day at Ben Davis, one of my teachers came in and said, "Hey, Harley's looking for people to work there," and there wasn't too many people there this year. And he was like, "Well, hey, you work at a motorcycle shop. Would you want to work there?" And I was like, "Sure." And this was back in August. And I went in there and I was talking to him, and they said, "Oh, well, we'd love you to work here, but we have no idea what Area 31 is and what this co-op thing is." That's the program which lets you work instead of go to school, basically. And took all these months until recently to finally get everything finalized where it would work out.
Yeah, one of your counselors actually reached out to us, and then we talked with him a little bit about having you come and work at the shop a few more extra hours a day and call that class. And then we got Clayton basically prepared to get on at Harley. He had to accomplish a few steps. One is he's got to get in and take a class, a riding class, so that he can maybe move some bikes around and such. And as Kim was saying earlier today, I mean, there's a lot of things that Clayton knows how to work on that your normal Harley mechanic wouldn't necessarily have learned, at least your younger ones that have gone to school specifically for that, because they're not really working on carbed bikes anymore. A lot of the Moto dealers are not working on any bikes older than 10 years old. That's why people call us all the time. And
so that being said, this note you see on the screen, Dusty Pine is somebody you may or may not remember. He's a great custom builder. He's been there and done that. He knows what he's doing in general as a fabricator and designer. I mean, he does beautiful work. The important thing is, if you're going to go to work at Harley Davidson, you've got an asset there that can help you answer any questions. You should look him up on Facebook and get connected directly to Dusty.
For sure.
Yeah, I appreciate that too.
Yeah, look up Dusty.
Thanks for that, Dusty. So I want to get to that one.
Which one?
The one right above it.
Oh, no, we don't want to do that.
Yeah,
one.
we want to do that. So there you go, Clay. That's an open field. You can ask. You can
That
answer
is
it
an
any
open
way you
field.
want.
That's actually a hard one.
Coming up with the best one, you mean?
Well, I think one of them was your reaction to something I've done actually. Was when I got the cops called on me inside the shop.
Okay. Yeah, let's tell that story.
Well, it was one of those times you needed me to go over there and, make sure everything was cool in the shop. It was right before we went to Mid-Ohio. So it
You
was,
broke in.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we had to wake up real early. So I was half asleep and I ran over there across the street and I never shut off the alarm yet. It was still kind of early when I was working there. And you told me, okay, walk in there, type in this code. I had it on my phone ready. So I get going running in there and it was packed full of bikes. You couldn't move around. So
it is a maze.
I was like swimming through bikes. And right when I'm getting to the alarm, I drop my phone with the code on it. When it hits the ground, the battery flies out and the alarm starts beeping really quick. And I start panicking. I start just pressing buttons. And then it says the cops are on their way.
Nice.
The alarm's been set. And right there, I thought, well, this didn't turn out as I expected. So
That could be it.
yeah.
I don't even remember. I remember that, but it's happened a couple times, not necessarily with you, but the police will call me and ask me, okay, well, is everything okay? Are you at the shop? And I'll go, no. And I'll just say, put him in jail. I'll get him out later.
Yeah, it's probably that poster of you as the most wanted.
Oh, it's out there somewhere.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of Steve stories. We've got all kinds of stories, and
You didn't ask me first.
Yeah,
story, but I'm going to bring some sooner or later.
No. Okay, yeah. Well, maybe we'll talk about that later.
Yeah,
I would like to talk about the one where I kicked the guy out of the shop.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's been.
You weren't there.
I wasn't there, but
yeah, it was a little bit about you.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So anyway, well, hey, man, that was a fast half an hour. Let me go back to my notes here. I forgot to print them out, and
yeah. So while he's looking, you mentioned getting used to the clutch on the Hodaka.
Yeah.
So you think you're going to get some practice with a foot clutch in a car?
It's hard to say. I mean, the few experiences I've had have not been the smoothest, but I'm hoping to.
Let's talk
get
about
better.
that experience. This would be the Kim experience, and I'll preface it real quick. So
his dad, who is watching, will remember that.
So Kim is he's not just into motorcycles; he's into guns and cars, and he's got a couple cars, and Clayton's into cars, and Kim has a '67 Corvette. And he told Clayton, I'll let you finish it out. You told Clayton you'd let him drive it. I haven't even driven the thing.
I promised him on his birthday, April 15th, when he turned old enough to have a driver's license, that we would take a drive in the Corvette.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
And well, I was going to go through with it either way, but on that day when I got up, it was snowing. It was like 25 degrees and snowing.
Yeah, on April 15th.
And we were going to take a drive. And I'm absolutely sure he didn't think we were going to do it.
Yeah, I was surprised.
But I showed up at the shop and I aired up the tires and off we went. We actually drove out to North Salem. You can share your experience from there. But to say he did a good job is a fair assessment of that. But to also say that maybe he had to adjust to driving a stick with a clutch was a little bit of an experience.
I got to add on to that. I'm not even going to let you say anything yet. So there was another time you let him drive. Okay.
Yeah.
It was dry.
Yeah.
And I saw you getting your Corvette out, and I was running around the complex, probably throwing tires away or trash away. And I see the Corvette down at the end of the complex, getting ready to turn north on 267. And all of a sudden it like jerks and dies or something like that. And then you hear it going chirp, chirp, clunk, clunk, all the way up 267. And I'm like, that's got to be Clayton.
Yeah.
That can't be Kim.
That was the second time you drove. I think it was just more nervous.
So I think the snow acted as a clutch.
Oh yeah, I should wait.
That's why you did so well in the snow. You got to wait you got to wait for some snow. That's for sure.
Steph saying she drove the car. She did in fact, and drove it like she owned it.
There's Aaron. Hey, Aaron. Randy Schwartz. We've got one of Randy's bikes at the shop there. So there's so many stories. We'll have you back on and talk about some more. And Clayton is just graduating high school this year. Here in just a few weeks, and he's got his whole life ahead of him. He doesn't know what he's going to do yet, but none of us really knew at that age. And so he's trying out all kinds of things, working at Hoyt Vintage, going over to Harley. His family has some history in the armed forces, which is something you're thinking about. And Brian Bissonette works at Harley down there in Bloomington. So he's like, welcome to the dark side there. That'd be another one you would want to add to Facebook friends because Brian is well-versed in everything, and now Harley for sure.
Heavily overqualified
For all that. So anyway, so Kim and I think it was Kim's idea actually, but we've always wanted to have Clayton on the show. We wanted to have Clayton on the show and tell you how proud we are of you and thankful we are that you've been at the shop all this time. And we know that you'll probably, Harley's closed on Mondays, so Clayton can come work on Mondays if he wants to, right? Yeah. So we'll see how that works out. But he'll be around, and we'll keep you all updated on what he's doing. And
thanks for having me.
We appreciate you helping us out. You've been a huge help to Hoy Vintage Cycles, that's for sure. And
I really
and
appreciate
become a great friend.
Opportunity also, it's been great working there, and I wouldn't have traded that time for anything. So
Okay. Well,
Quick
hey,
essential.
Kim's Essentials. Here we go.
So sometimes you have something you need that isn't normally in your pocket or your toolkit. You might want to hang it on your keychain. This goes to this bike behind me. It's a 1983 XLX. To get to the battery connections, you have to, if you're not going to use one of those battery extender connectors, you got to take the seat off. So I have made this little Allen key with a piece of tubing on it to keep it from tearing things up, and I welded a washer on it. So you might have something like that, a little screwdriver head or something like that you want to hang from your keys that'll not do a lot of damage if you put a piece of fuel line on it so it can bump against paint and not hurt anything. So something to think about.
All right. Hey, thanks for tuning in, Clayton. We'll see you later. You're fired Thursday. And
Yeah, I expected that.
good luck in the future there, buddy.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thanks, Kim.